This is what happens when Dale pulls his finger out. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, he's on the show and looks pro. Think about that. Think about that. Now it looks pro because Dale's on the show. He's co-hosting today.
Is that a conspiracy?
Is that a conspiracy? I think that's subliminal messaging. When are we going? Are we recording now? We are? Okay.
What?
Ready? Episode 6. Well, today's quite special. If you're wondering why it looks so professional today and why, we've got a new setup, tables, lights, everything's looking really good.
It's because we got famous DJ Dread One in the house.
Yes, that's one of the reasons. But also, Dale's co-hosting from now on. I mean, been trying to get him on here for ages. So, yeah, he pulls his finger out when he gets on the show.
Nice.
Yeah. So now when we throw the mic to you now and, ask you questions, you got to say stuff.
I got it.
Yeah, like last time, you're like, huh?
I was half asleep.
All right, so this is actually a special episode today. It's going to be quite interesting, but can you just go ahead and rap what you were doing before, please? Just do it. Go.
Let's start la fiesta. No time for siesta. Is DJ Dread One here with the next one? It's a movement to get you moving. Your body syncs up with the music. Slow repetition sets a rhythm. Some out there won't know what hit them. Can't dismiss this. It's addictive. A bunch of misfits with a common interest. I love the drums since I was young. They turn any night into carnival. It's all fun plus entertaining. And right here is where the stage is. So join in and party with us. Get taken away by the sound of the drums. Let's leave it there, guys.
Man, that's sick. That's mad, bro.
Thank you.
So, dude,
Yes.
your life has done an entire 360, 180. No, not 360, 180.
180.
Yeah.
360, I'd be back where I started.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's try and not let that happen. So total 180, man, with you. You've gone through some ups and downs, dude. So listen, I think the first thing we'll do is, if we want to get to the crux of the story, we don't script anything here. We obviously just let it go.
Yep.
You came back from stage 4 cancer, dude.
Correct. Yeah.
What was that like, man, to get the news that you had stage 4 cancer and a year left to live?
Well, it was crazy. I mean, a lot of thoughts, emotions go through your head. First thing you think about, I guess, is no, let's retest. This can't be right, It was scary. It was scary.
Actually,
it was scary to say the least.
I remember actually the moment we were in I think one of the kids' birthdays or something on the playground, and you're like, man, my back is sore. My back is sore.
So what had happened was
and after 26 Nurofen,
I'd woken up one morning with a bit of a pain on my right hand side, and being a bloke, I think I should be right. First thing I thought was, I'm just sleeping in the wrong position. It's just a muscular pain, and I just didn't think much of it. A couple of days later, the pain was still there. It wasn't a really bad pain, but it was an annoying pain. And so anyway, a week went past, and we were actually at one of my daughter's birthday, Emily's birthday, when we had that conversation.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to you, I still got this pain here. It's a bit of annoying. And I think you said, oh, mate, go and check it out. You might have kidney stones or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. So I said, yeah, you know what? It's been a week now. I think I should go to the GP and get it checked out. So a couple of days later after that, so that was on a Sunday. I think it was on the Tuesday. I went to the GP. Same first thing he thought he's maybe got kidney stones. So we did a couple of urine tests, and they came out clear. And then I got sent for an ultrasound. Went for the ultrasound, and you know what? When I was laying there on that bed doing the ultrasound, I remember like it was today. They did the one side first, and they doing one side of the kidneys, doing the ultrasound, and it was very quick. Then they went to the other side, and she was taking her time with it. She's telling me to breathe in, hold. Straight away, I knew, in the back of my mind, there was something wasn't right.
Can I just say something real quick? And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make this comic
No,
or
no,
anything,
no.
but you know I love you, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
of
know,
course.
We
My
we
brother.
don't stop laughing. Right?
Yeah.
But how annoying, I know this is a serious topic, but how annoying is it, those like ultrasound people, and they do this one? Oh.
And don't tell you anything. Yeah.
And you're like,
What?
what's the
What?
problem?
What is it?
What's wrong? I can't tell you. You have to wait for the doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. And you're like, is it bad? Can't say.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes you freak out,
It
right?
does. I knew, like I said, I already knew. It's the fact that one side was done very quickly, and then the other side, she was taking her time, making me breathe in and hold, and like you said, you know, there's these face expressions, and So anyway, I already had a bad feeling. You know, I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew something wasn't right. So, and then a couple of days later, I think it was a day later, I get a message from the doctor, come in, you know, it's something serious, come and we'll have a chat. So I went back to the doctors, and that's when we got the results for the first ultrasound, which it showed that I had a mass on my right kidney. It was 7 centimeters by 7 centimeter mass.
Wow, that's huge.
Which, yeah, it was, you know, at this stage. I was still hopeful though, because even he said,
That's like a cricket ball or something, right? Like a baseball, cricket ball.
yeah, that's pretty big.
Big,
Yeah.
yeah.
Look, the doctor said, look, let's not, you know, jump the gun yet. I mean, you know, it may not be cancerous. It could be just a mass. We'll need to send you for a CT scan. But just by hearing that, I already started getting bad thoughts in my mind. And the reason being why I started straight away thinking about it is because I started thinking about my dad. So I was 45, 47 now, but I was 45 at the time. And as soon as he said that, one of the first thoughts that came into my mind was my father. He'd passed away when he was 46 of lung cancer. So even though I still was hopeful that it wasn't that thought came into my mind straight away. So, and it was very hard to remove that thought from my mind. You know, it was in the back there. It was, you know. So yeah, straight away I started feeling a bit, I don't know, confused, scared, and hopeful at the same time, all combined together. It's hard to explain that what I was going through.
Real quick, just to give a bit of context here.
Yep.
You weren't a Christian. Like you grew up, like you're Catholic, and like I grew up Greek. It was cultural, but
it was a cultural thing. No,
not
at all. Not at all.
And so you're not really Christian per se. So you were like, in terms of being on your own in this journey, like it was well and truly, like, you know, it would have been pretty dark at the time.
Yeah. No, look, like you said, you know, as a kid, you know, my parents went full on Catholics, but they followed the old school Catholic, you know, the baptisms and the communions, confirmations.
Like we went to church 2 times a year, Easter, Christmas.
Correct.
Yeah.
My voice just.
Did his mic drop out or something?
Play around with it.
Yeah, that's
there.
better.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, beautiful.
It's not weird because the amount of times we've tried to do this podcast.
Yeah, this is like 3 months in the making.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
Like some that we've had. Yeah, something's always popped up.
So you're alone. You're at home.
So yeah, even the drive home, I can't remember now. Did I know I called you on my way home. I spoke to you. I rang you, but I'm not sure if that was after my first scan or my second scan. I can't remember. It's been 2 years since this, so I'm not quite sure of this. But let's move on to the next part where the doctor said we need to do a CT scan to confirm if it's malignant, benign. Let's see what we're dealing with. And had a scan done pretty quickly, a CT scan, and got the results. Got called back to the doctors to go and get the results, and that was the moment of truth. That's when my whole life just got shattered. Went to get the results, and he confirmed what I didn't want to hear, and he said, "Oh, look, unfortunately, it is a cancerous tumor. Not only have you got this big tumor on your right kidney, but it has also already spread to the IVC, the inferior vena cava, which is one of the main veins. We have two main veins in our body that carry blood flow up and down the body.
So that vein that goes from the kidney up the abdomen through the liver all the way to the heart, that main one.
Yes.
So the cancer started to grow.
It was
from
already
the
on
kidney in the vein
into the vein, and it was affected by 4 centimeters, 3.5, 4 centimeters of that vein.
And actually, I remember at the oncologist when he told you about the results that because we went together with your wife.
Yeah.
And he said that it hadn't reached the liver yet, which was a good thing.
But it was heading up there.
And we needed to do a surgery straight away because if it went to the liver, they would have to cut off the blood. So they got to cut off the blood supply to the kidney. It's a major operation, but with it going to the liver, they got to redirect everything out of the liver to it's like you had to go.
And
you would have to go to a bigger hospital to do that.
Correct.
So it was amazing when you caught it at the time.
Yeah. And you know what? Even though you said that it's amazing they caught it at the time, but it just goes to show how much of a silent killer it is. Because I mean, it was 7 centimeters. It wasn't a little marble. It was already a 7 by 7 centimeter tumor that I had, and I hadn't really felt anything until then.
Yeah.
So So anyway, so I get the news, and that's it. That's when I was devastated, angry, upset. And that's when all the thoughts, what's going to happen with my little girls? I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, Alexia and Emily.
You're thinking about work, you're renting.
Renting, what's going to happen with my wife, a lot of things. So I couldn't even describe to you how many thoughts just running through your head, And the main one, like I mentioned before, again, my father kept coming into the picture.
Yeah.
I thought, here we go. Here's history repeating itself, That's... And
around the same time too, because your dad died
because
at 46.
I was 46 and I was 45.
Yeah, and they're thinking you don't do anything. You got a year or something like that.
Yeah. So when we went saw the specialist, we asked him. It's a question that you want to ask, but you don't at the same time. It's kind of weird. You want to know, but you don't want to know. How long have I got left to live?
Man, that's intense.
It's. You don't want to hear it, but you do. It's crazy. But
so what were you thinking when So they got you in to do an operation to take your kidney out pretty quickly, right?
So after we got the CT scan, I got sent to the hospital to see the kidney specialist. Well, before that, I remember calling you on the way home.
Yeah,
I had a good conversation with you. I just had to pull over. I was driving, and I was a wreck. I couldn't drive. I had to pull over to the side of the road. I pulled up, just, started crying, just thinking about everything that was about to happen, thinking about the pain I'm going to go through, thinking about death, just a lot of bad things. And sat there for a bit, and then I rang you up and told you what was happening. I believe you came. I'm not sure if you came over that afternoon or the next morning.
I think I know that they had to book you into surgery straight away, really quick.
Yeah. So what we did,
I think
So what we did was we went to see the specialist together.
Yeah.
And he said,
so
look,
on the Monday you were booked to go in.
Nah. So it was 3 weeks. I was booked in 3 weeks from when I first.
3 weeks. Okay.
First I had the CT scan. And I remember him saying, look, the type of cancer you've got, we can't treat it, and how big it is, and where it's at the stage. We can't treat it with chemo radiation at this stage. We need to operate.
Yeah, because it's heading towards your liver.
We need to cut it out because it was heading, and if it hits the liver, that was another ball game. Yeah.
Okay, so I remember what happened was you called me. I remember that conversation, and I knew that it was the weekend before. Actually, no. Yeah, okay. So you did call me, and that afternoon I came over, right?
Yeah.
And this was 2 years? This is 2021, right?
Yeah.
This is 2021. So I'm only a new sort of Christian, right? And I was sort of new in all of this.
Yeah.
And I just if the one thing I want to do is I want to obviously tell you about Christ. Because that's the main thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what was on my heart. And then, so yeah, I came to your house that afternoon, and I told you about the case for Christ, right?
Yes.
An evidentialist approach, which is like, because, you know, it's hard when you look at your lifestyle or my lifestyle pre-Christian, right?
Oh my goodness.
We're not exactly, we're like, we're debaucherous, right? And to come to you, right, and talk about Christ was intimidating for me, even me. And so I'm like, what could I tell this guy about Jesus, why it's real? So I sat down and I give the case for Christ.
Case for Christ.
Which is like the idea that there was a historical Jesus, right? He did leave behind an empty tomb, right? And he did have an effect on people and change the world. And it was easing our way into it. And then you said you would look at it. I think I gave you a video to look at.
You gave me the link, YouTube link, yeah.
To look at, which was good. And I said you need a mind, body, spirit approach to this thing.
Yeah. I'll remember today. Yeah.
And you were doing, by that stage, you were doing the vegan diet and all that, right?
Yeah, so as soon as I got told, you know, as soon as that confirmation, I went home, and I'm sure everyone does the same thing. You just start researching the type of cancer I got, what is the life survival rate, what, you know, what can I do? What are some of the things I can take? You know, and I just thought to myself, you know, this thing's not going to beat me. Like, even though I had, you know, fear, I was scared, but at the same time, I thought, no, I'm going to stay positive. I want to be there for my daughters, for my wife. So I'm going to try and do anything and everything I can to try and beat this. So yeah, so I started looking at things like, you know, I started doing a lot of meditation. I started looking at the Dr. Sebi diet, which was an alkaline vegan diet, which was very hard. Anything and everything that I could read, watch about cancer, I was doing it all. Just not, you know, not the Christian side of things yet, you know, until you showed me this is when I started, you know, sort of that question popped into my mind a bit. Oh, okay. It was actually a good video. I remember that.
Yeah, it was a good sermon. Certain words get anointed, right? And you can watch the same sermon or other people speak and talk about God, but sometimes certain words get anointed for certain people. And certain people get touched in a certain way. That one obviously touched you.
Oh, 100%. It definitely planted the seed.
Yeah.
Me, you know,
and then I actually remember one of the most beautiful moments in this entire experience is when we all came over, like Mel, it was me, it was Harley, it was Dari, it was Ricky, and this was the day before
before my surgery. Yeah.
And we just laid hands on you, started praying, and the presence in the room, right? Was so heavy. Like, everyone was in tears, and like obviously everyone's worried, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's worried. It's a major operation, like 6-7 hours, all that stuff. It's crazy.
It was a very delicate operation. I mean, the fact that not only I had two surgeons at my surgery, I had the kidney surgeon and the liver surgeon, because it was heading up towards the liver. So I had two surgeons, and the hardest part was going to be the vein, because the vein was infected. They were actually going to clamp the vein, cut a section of the vein out, and put a graft, I think it was a cow's vein or something they were going to put in there. And look, I was being told left, right, and centre by doctors and nurses how dangerous this surgery was going to be, how delicate, how bad, like, you know, the outcomes that could have. And so that was scary in itself. So when you rang me and said, "Oh, do you mind if a few friends come over tomorrow, the day before your surgery, and we can pray for you?" And I just thought, yeah, of course, you know.
Yeah.
That was, let me tell you, that was for me. I felt this warmth and this feeling that I can't describe. It was one of the first times that I felt something, a presence, something, you know, something that gave me comfort. Because I know, but because I was scared. I was really scared.
We were all scared.
Everyone was scared, yeah.
We were all scared because, like, you are such a big personality. You make an impact on people's lives. Like, you're the life of the party, man. You're that guy. And so to think that this is happening in the Sebi, you know what I mean? Like, this is happening in the Sebi. It's like, everyone's like, if we lose him, like, that's going to be horrible, right? And so, yeah, everyone was willing to come over, you know, to definitely, we're going to pray for Sebi, you know, like 100%.
Yeah.
And that moment was so beautiful. Like, it was just, you could see the heart of God in the place, right? Well and truly. Because when you're alone, And when you're in darkness, right, you got nothing but your faith.
Mm.
You got nothing
Yeah.
because you don't know, right? You don't know what's going to happen. Am I going to get through it? Because like you said, we knew the realities of this surgery. There was a possibility you could die.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then when you went to go do the surgery the next day, I went with Alini, right?
Yeah, it was you, my wife Alini, and my mum.
Yeah. And we, it was supposed to be 6 hours. Man, that was the longest 6 hours of my life because it actually went to about 8 hours. Like it went a couple of hours over. That's when we started to freak out, Alini and I.
I lost a lot of blood. They actually had to give me, we only carry around 5 litres of blood in our body. They had to give me 4.3 litres of blood.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we're dealing with a delicate, with that vein. I mean, they're already removing a kidney. That in itself is a big surgery as it is, affects me. But the fact that they didn't actually go ahead and clamp the vein and cut the section out. When they opened up, apparently they saw that they could just cut a section of it out. And but I think that was still bad enough for me to lose a lot of blood.
4 liters is insane. That's why that I don't think they tell you how what exactly is going in the room, but I think the fact that the surgery went longer and you lost 4 liters, I mean it's not unreasonable to say that you nearly died.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And when I was with our Linny and we're both looking at the time, dude, we're calling up, we're going up to the waiting room area, we're coming back down, we're going to the cafe, and we're just looking at each other. There was just like an emptiness. And I promise you, bro, when the time went over, 6 hours, I'm looking at Linny going, okay, like my mind goes here, right? My mind's like, okay, because you're renting a place. She's not really at work. She doesn't have a license. She's a full-time mum, a great mum. You're at work full-time. Okay, right. So we're going to make room in the house. They're going to move in. The kids will move in. We'll find a way. We'll look after her, help her get a job, get her back on the feet. Like I'm already planning in my head that you're gone. Yeah. Right. I know I got faith and hope, but it was hard in that moment. My mind, I'm a pragmatist, like I like to think about solutions, right? Yeah. And I'm like, okay, well, this is what we've got to do. And moving in, the kids, we're going to have to, I can't abandon these kids. I'm going to look after them, all that stuff. My mind's going there. But then eventually we get notified that, you had the operation and you're
successful.
Yeah. I need to tell you, man, that feeling.
Yeah. And you know what, I sometimes think about, not only what I've went through, but what all my family and friends have gone through as well in this journey, because, I couldn't even imagine what, Alini and you guys, what, especially Alini, what she was thinking, and my mum too, she was there at the hospital, what the thoughts that would have been going through their mind. And
your mum was tough, actually. I have to tell you that. Your mum was tough.
She's
I saw her it's like any mother and kid, right? But she was trying to be actually quite strong for Alini, because Alini was in a state of shock. Yeah. It was tough because, to go through all that stuff, man. And so, that's the effect you have on people, man. They love you, bro. They love you. I love you, man. And the thing is, to see, and we'll get to it, to see what you've done in your life post this. The pain was definitely, and the tribulation was not without purpose.
No.
And it's hard to say that because a lot of people are going through difficult things. A lot of people are hurting, and they ask themselves a lot, like, why does God allow this? Why does this happen? But there's moments throughout human history. There are terrible stories, okay, that sometimes do not make sense. But there are moments in history, in people's lives like yours, where miracles happen. And then what do you do with it? The impact then you live and who you're living for and what you do for other people. And then you look back.
So good.
And you go back to the adversity and you go to yourself, as much as I was lost back then, I see what you were doing now. I see what you're doing now, God, and I'm going to live for you. And so after that operation, we see you. We're obviously very happy to know that you made it through. And you had stitches.
55 staples.
Would it be, do you want to show everyone your scar? Yeah. Would you have any problem with it? Okay. No, it's all right.
I'll put it a bit away at the moment.
Just don't pull your pants down. Okay. So, Daniel, have you got the shot? Look at that scar. Straight down the middle and across the side. They just ripped you right open and take out the kidney. Yeah. I mean, if you draw some lines, it kind of looks like a six-pack.
And you know what? Sorry. So yeah, it was a big cut, 55 staples, and let me tell you, the moment I wake up in intensive care after the operation, wow, the pain.
Ooh.
I just remember them saying, Seb, and just open up my eyes, and then straight away, the pain that I felt was insane. I don't think I'd ever felt a pain like that. And I was just screaming, and I was, in agony. And I had a epidural on my spine, but it wasn't controlling the pain. It wasn't working. And they kept pumping it, and kept saying, "Oh, can you still feel the pain?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can." Steady in my face, I can. And then they're grabbing ice or something and putting it on my legs. Can you feel that? And I'm saying, "Yeah, I can feel it." So they, after I don't know how long it went for, but let's say 5 minutes, they finally decided, "Oh, that's not working. Take it out." And they put I think it was endone straight into my vein, and that sort of controlled the pain a bit. So yeah, that was insane. It was crazy pain, something that I'd never felt.
And they have to, like, when they open you up, they have to move all your guts around.
Yeah.
So I remember in the recovery when we saw you, it was a big thing to get you to fart, right? Because so that they could see that everything was working properly, to pass wind.
Yeah,
now,
correct.
Again, at the time, it's pretty funny, right? We're chasing a fart. That's it. We're chasing a fart. You know what? We started praying for a fart. That's what we started doing, right? It's like, it sounds silly, right? But it's like, it was so important. It was so important for you to pass wind, because they literally move your whole guts around.
Yeah.
And they want to make sure that everything is working properly. The fart was the first thing. When the fart came, we were all happy. Yeah. Right? Still are. You can fart right now if you want. So yeah, it was just so crazy. And then you get sent home.
Yeah, it was amazing. The recovery, and I don't know if it had a lot to do, because, like I said, I was already on this crazy plant-based diet and everything that I was doing. I don't know what it was, but I was only in hospital 5 days after this huge surgery. I was able to go home after 5 days, which I remember until today when I told Alini, I rang Alini on the phone and said, "Hey, they're going to let me go home today." She's like, "What? No. What do you mean you're going home? You've only just had surgery 5 days ago. You got to stay there." I said, "No."
Yeah, you recovered quite quick. I think definitely had an element, a mind, body, spirit approach. You were positive, you were believing in Jesus, and you were
that's right. By this stage,
looking after very well. Like when they brought you the hospital food, you're like, "I don't want to eat this. Give me some fruits, give me some things."
Yeah, because I was very strict on the vegan diet. I'd gone on that, especially alkaline. I wanted that alkaline diet.
Yeah.
And they give you crap.
No,
I mean, they don't give you crap, but they weren't giving me what I was, what I was meant to be eating.
Exactly, I remember that.
But yeah, no, it was a quick recovery. They make sure that you can walk around. And look, I'm not going to lie, I had to actually the first week or two, I had to walk around with a pillow holding up against my stomach, because it was painful to walk around. As you could imagine, just being cut open. So I had to hold it down to be able to walk, because, to get up, to sit up, it was very painful. But yeah, look, we went through it. I was just happy that the surgery, I was very thankful. And after the, like I said before, when you guys was praying for me the day before the surgery, and just everything that had been happening leading up to the surgery, I was already, the video that you showed me, the Case for Christ, I was already starting to, I wasn't 100% there yet, but I was already starting to obviously believe, but, have this sort of knowledge that, there is God exists, and I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, wow.
He's going to look after me.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helped me with my mind to keep it in a good place, but yeah, I was already starting to build my faith at that stage. It wasn't where it is now,
Isn't that crazy? Even knowing what you went through, and you kind of look back, you can see faith grows over a period of time, right? And it can hit you in a moment and you can believe, but then as you deepen your relationship with Christ, like you can, the intimacy and the relationship with Jesus, your faith changes over time, because you can see him work and develop you in certain ways. And so you look back now and you're like, I had faith then, but not like now. No. Yeah. So in the moment that you got home, you did the recovery, right? You were still doing the diet. You were actually getting pretty shredded at that stage too. Like you were losing a lot of weight.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
were walking.
Well, look, let's put it this way. I went from I was a little bit overweight. I was 94 kilos,
Yeah, wow.
which is a lot for my height, overweight, and I had gone down to 72, 74.
Oh wow, yeah. So you were looking fit, you were looking good, you were walking, and so a couple months goes by. You know you're in a good place. You start going to church.
Yeah,
You start reading the
yeah.
Bible.
Well, the reason for that too, I was I'm till today very grateful, very thankful. I had people all around the world praying for me, not just in Australia, not at that church, but I had people in America, I had people in England, in South America, in Uruguay, where I'm from, in Brazil. I know a lot of people around the world that were praying for me.
So good.
Which is so good. And then I knew that everyone at Beaches Church was praying for me as well. We had a couple of friends that went there, and so I wanted to, as soon as I was ready to walk around and felt okay walking around, I wanted to go sort of to say thank you, pay my respects sort of thing. I wanted to go to church and because I knew a lot of people at church were praying for me. And not only that, I was, my faith, I was starting to ask questions. I wanted to learn more. One thing about me, when I like something, I want to know about it. I want to, I want to get right into it. I want to learn about it. And, I didn't know much. I started reading the Bible. I was listening to it in the car. I was getting right into it. I was really, really, really into it and wanted to know more in a short amount of time. I wanted to know more. So yeah, I went to church, and it was beautiful. My first day there, I just, and it's funny because as a kid, as we mentioned before, I used to go to Catholic churches and stuff like that, and it was never really my thing. Maybe I was a lot younger, and but now I don't know if because what had happened, or I'm not sure what it was, but as soon as I walked in there, I just felt this love, it was just beautiful, the worshiping, everything. It was, I just felt like I was surrounded by family. It was really, really nice.
And then after how many months was it that you went and had to go do another CT scan?
So I get them done every 3 months.
Yeah.
But I think it was about 2 months after surgery for the first one. 2 months after surgery. So, and this is hard too, because I'm thinking, great, had the surgery, they've cut out the cancer, I'm good. That's it, done and dusted, we're good to move on. But unfortunately, no, 2 months after my surgery, I had another CT scan to see how everything was going, and went to get the results, and the doctor said, look, Seb, unfortunately, the cancer is back in your vein. That section that they cut out, it was back there.
It was only small, I remember that.
Yeah.
It was there.
It was there, I think maybe about 2 centimeters, something like that. But the cancer was back there. I also had a blood clot there. But then the biggest shock was I also now had lung cancer. I had 2 tumours, one on each lung. I had about 5 affected nodules, blood clot in each lung. Boom, that's it. I was back to square one pretty much. Where
Because you were riding such a high wave. You were feeling good. Everything's good. I mean, when we went to the oncologist together, we kind of we were in a good place.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
We were right.
yeah.
No matter what happens, we're going to be sweet. All good. Everything's going to be sweet.
Yeah.
And then you get that news.
and get the news. Yeah, sorry, unfortunately. So yeah, that was
I know
that was tough.
I know it was tough because I actually preached about this. I preached about the moment we went to the car park outside the hospital.
Yeah.
And the hopelessness in your eyes.
Mm.
You looked at me like, I'm going to die, Matt.
Yeah.
Like, you looked at me and you were like, I'm going to die. My kids, family, I'm going to church. I'm studying. I have faith. I'm looking after, I'm doing, what more can I do?
Yeah. Yeah.
You looked at me like that.
Yeah.
And I was looking at you and I was like, I don't know what answers I have for you, man. Because I'm feeling the same way.
Yeah.
God, what are you doing here? Please.
Yeah.
We're doing everything. And it's like there was a moment there. It was a crossroads moment. We both left that park. I was crying, man. I was in tears. I'm calling up Tali, and I'm like, this is the news. This is what's happened. And it's like in that moment for me, it's like all we got is prayer, man. That's it. That's all we got. Because chemotherapy wouldn't work on this cancer. You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And we didn't actually know what options were available because we had to go to the specialist, right?
Yeah, so we because at that stage we were just seeing the kidney specialist, but now that it got into so originally it was already like a stage 3 when I first got diagnosed stage 3 because it was in my kidney and then also in the vein, but now that it also had now spread to my lungs, then they were now saying it's just stage 4. And so now I actually had to go and have my first appointment with an oncologist. And yeah, that was the next step. And that's when I got told what the next step would be, which would be immunotherapy.
It's experimental.
It was a trial experimental drug that had only just been released not long prior to me.
Actually, funnily enough, I remember in the meeting he says it got released to the public in July, which is when you got diagnosed officially, which was I find that correlation interesting. Not that I'm not sure if it means anything, but I was kind of thinking, that's interesting. But yeah, so can you real quick, in that moment before you went and did this immunotherapy, which we didn't know could work, chemotherapy didn't work, from the moment of that car park, and to that moment, what happened in your faith journey in that period of time?
Well, I just, after that conversation in the car park, got in my car, started driving home, and I remember I just started talking to God, started praying, and I remember thinking, well, this, all I can do now is pray and hope for the best because, like you said, I didn't know what else to do. I was doing it all. I was doing the meditation. I was doing the diets. I was doing, the special herbs, the teas, water fastings, coffee enemas. I was like a lot. I was doing a lot of things, and this is now happening. So yeah, I just all I could do now is just pray and hope for the best.
Were you angry?
Sorry?
Were you angry?
Oh, 100%. You think why me? It's tough. It's tough. Angry, upset, and always in the back of my mind thinking about my family. Like I didn't, like no one wants to die. Don't get me wrong, but I think for me it wasn't as much the actual dying. I think it was more what's going to happen with my family. How like I knew I have good friends and family that were going to help out and going to like it, but still it's just
That question.
my daughter's growing up without a father. That just to think about that is just
Insane.
it's tough. It's tough. So yeah, we that's all I could do is just keep praying and keep doing everything that I was doing. Keep doing the
Sorry, one tick. Is there an issue, Daniel?
It's probably out of battery.
The camera went out? Okay. Just pause that moment.
no worries.
And let's just think about how shocking it was to hear Dale speak.
It was good. It was great.
Only took about an hour I'm not sure how long we've been going, but it took him that long to ask a question.
Because I've been just like,
You're going to have to lift up your questioning game, Dale.
I've had questions, but I'm just.
You're right, brother. All good.
I wasn't here at the time, so it's hard because I'm enjoying.
Yeah. This is obviously the quick version. We're skipping through a lot, but it's good. Getting the main points out there.
I wouldn't necessarily call this the quick version.
It is.
Really?
Yeah. Like it's.
We're going. Well, look.
No, but I'd rather. Otherwise, we're going to be here till tomorrow. So
Okay, but with that said, I mean it's detailed. But if you want to go
are we on?
in depth, we're on.
Okay.
If you want to go in depth to Sebastian's story about how he beat cancer, he's actually got a YouTube channel. Yep. The YouTube channel is called
Dread One and Family.
Dread One and family. We'll leave a link in the description for the people that want to see it, because he's done the first part. Second part is out soon.
Yeah, it should be out next week.
Yeah, it'll be out next week. And so, like, there are people that want questions. They want to know Seb's journey. Faith is important. It's the main thing, but there is an element that, you know, your body's a temple, and looking after it, and all the remedies that that Sebastian went through, he can like talk people through it and help you through it. Like, he's doing amazing work now. So we'll leave his channel in the description, and people can go there directly to get more detailed info.
Yeah, it is a more detailed version of what I'm telling now.
Yeah. So then basically, you start the immunotherapy.
So what they've said is, okay, so we're going to start you with 2 immunotherapy drugs, and we're going to do 4 cycles. I think it was 3 or 4 cycles of these 2 drugs. Once we do those 4 cycles, which is going to be every 3 weeks from memory, then we go into just the 1 immunotherapy drug and do it every 4 weeks. So I went, okay, cool. I was excited. Okay, there's plan B. You know, we did the surgery. That sort of worked, but it didn't. What's next? This is next. Okay, cool. Let's do this. So, you know, I've started feeling a little bit better again, you know. Thank you, God. Like, there's something else has popped up, you know. So I've gone for my first immunotherapy, which is they give you the drug through IV. I also got to do blood tests, you know, prior the day before the immunotherapy, just to check all the blood levels and things. But anyway, so we did the first one. That was fine. 3 weeks later, I went for a second one. That was fine. You know, the only thing that I was getting straight away was fatigue, feeling really tired, getting like a rash through my legs and my arms, very itchy, scratching. But after the second cycle that I had, a week, 3, 4, 5 days, maybe a week into it, I started feeling really, really sick in the stomach. You know, I felt like vomiting. I couldn't smell, you know, I remember my mum or Lenny cooking food, and I smelled the food cooking, and it'd make me really sick. I didn't want to eat. I was feeling really, really sick. And I just thought, you know what, it's probably the effects, because they tell you there's all side effects for the immunotherapy. So, you know, I thought it's probably just something to do with that. So I left it at that, you know. I mean, even though they tell you when you're doing this immunotherapy, looking, you know, if you have any symptoms that you're not, you know, that's not normal, or you got fevers, or because you're on this drug, you need to go to emergency straight away. But I just thought, you know, it should be fine. When I went for my 3rd cycle of immunotherapy, like I said, they do the blood test a day prior, make sure everything's good. I've gone in for my immunotherapy. They've looked at the blood test results, and they said, whoa, we need to stop straight away. What had happened was, see, immunotherapy is not as bad as chemotherapy, but it's still bad enough that it does attack other organs in your body. You can attack, you know, they give you all these side effects. And
well, the idea is that it stimulates your immune system to attack the cancer cells, but potentially
it can attack everything else. Yeah, puts your immune system on overdrive.
Hence, it's been experimental.
So what had happened, the immunotherapy had actually now given me an autoimmune hepatitis. And it was really bad, really bad. Like,
so in layman's terms, it was killing your liver.
Yeah. To put it, look, they said to me, like, it's the liver enzyme levels. I think the maximum is something like 45. I was at 1,000 and something. Like, it was extremely bad, and hence why I was feeling so sick.
You had to get off. You had to get off the drug straight away.
They said, that's it. No more immunotherapy for you.
So you did 2 weeks of it, was it?
So I'd done 2 cycles. So I'd done 1 cycle. 3 weeks later, I'd done a second one.
That's it.
3 weeks later, I went for my 3rd. That's when they said, no.
Okay.
No, that's it.
So basically 3 weeks of this drug, essentially. You did the first cycle, the 3 weeks.
6 weeks. So I did
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
6 weeks of the drug. Yeah.
So instead of going into to get my immunotherapy, I went in to get steroids through IV to try and settle the liver. And I had to do 3 days in a row. I went to the hospital 3 days in a row. They gave me steroid through IV. And then,
strangely enough, you started doing 100 push-ups a day.
and then also doing steroids after that for about 2 or 3 months, tablet form,
Okay.
until the liver enzyme levels drop back to normal again.
When did the lung thing happen? Because that was around then, wasn't it?
So, yeah, I can't remember exactly, but not long after that, a couple of months after that. It was in around November, December. It was about midnight, and felt something, the taste of blood in my throat. So I went to the bathroom, and I spat out. I started coughing up blood. Just coughing up blood. And not only that, at this stage too, like I couldn't walk more than 2-3 meters without being out of breath. I was
man.
it was like I couldn't breathe. It was really bad. The fact that the lung cancer was getting really bad. I had the tumors, had the nodules, the blood clots.
And you had to stop the immunotherapy.
Yeah. So I went from immunotherapy, great, this is awesome, to oh no, we got to stop it all. And I'm going, oh, you're kidding me. Like, I was excited about the immunotherapy. They were talking about, because I've done some research too, and it looked like it was a good thing to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to this night, coughing up blood. I'm going, oh no, here we go.
That would have freaked you out, eh?
Not going to lie, I thought that's it. I've got weeks, maybe months to live.
You're dead.
That's what's going through my mind. I drove myself to emergency that night. Got there about 1 o'clock in the morning. The coughing of blood, by the time I got there, wasn't as bad. It was just infrequent. It was every now and then I'd cough up a bit of blood.
Yeah.
But anyway, they put me into the oncology ward. I stayed there.
When did you call Ricky and I?
So this is when this is happening.
So you went at midnight.
I went at 1 o'clock in the
I think
morning.
you called us in the morning.
The next day.
So
next
you were there
day.
the night before.
Yeah, I was there all night. They
Oh,
were doing
wow.
scans, blood tests, trying to get to the bottom of it. Like I said, they actually, got me into the oncology ward, and I was going to stay there. Well, not sure how long, as long as it took, And that's when I called you, and Ricky said, "Oh, look, I'm in hospital. This is what's happened." And this is when I asked you a very, very important thing that happened to me, where it really, really started changing my life, because until this point, I didn't really own a Bible. I was just listening to it on my phone, or reading it on my phone. But this is when I really got scared, as I said, because really I thought, like I said, I've got weeks, if not months, to live now. I need to, it's only between me and God now. I need to start really praying, really,
It's funny.
and
There's nothing left. Like you did it all, right?
Yeah.
You did it all. You did that. You did. No one did more physical remedies than you. Like in terms of like
so much.
everything. And you are having faith. You're doing meditation. You're being positive, even in the midst of it.
Yeah.
But at this
Breath
moment,
work and, the cold showers, everything.
But in this moment, I like what you said there. It was between me and God.
Yeah. So I rang Matt. I rang you. I said, Matt, can you do me a favor, please, brother? Can you go to a bookstore and can you buy me my first Bible? I just got a feeling I need it. I don't know why. I just felt it inside. I felt that I needed to get closer by reading the Word. I think, I don't know. It was a weird feeling, but you and Ricky came. You went to the bookstore, bought me my first Bible, and started reading it. Actual reading and not listening to it all. Reading.
What did you start reading? Do you remember?
Well, I had from the beginning. I always wanted to. When I first started reading, I wanted to go from the beginning. So I went from the beginning.
Yeah.
Even though some people say no, start with the Gospels. No, I wanted to go. Like I said, I wanted to know it all.
Yeah.
I wanted to dive right into it. So, but I think while I was in hospital this time, I think I was more.
I think you were in
it was
John.
John.
Yeah.
Yeah. I something got me to John. So I skipped everything that I had to go through the Old Testament. Still, I skipped all that and went straight to John, and that's what I.
John is, man. John, that book. If you have not read the Bible, start with John.
John, yeah, so good.
Start with John.
So yeah, that I was, really, really praying more than I'd ever have. You know, like I'd prayed a few times when I'd been scared, but not like now. Now it was a different ball game. Now, like I said, I was really scared. I'm dying.
I
That's
remember.
it.
I remember walking in that room with Ricky, man, and you give me the Bible because I'm going to die and I want to know. And I looked at you, and I don't want this to be blasphemous, but I almost got the Bible and hit you with it, like because I'm like, man, don't give up right now. This is the time to start fighting, you know. And like, because even me, I was scared, but I wasn't showing it to you. You know, it was tough, man, because you're coughing up blood and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
and then you had to go in for radiation, right?
So what's happened then? They have specialist has come to see me after looking at some of the scans and said, "Look, Seb, we've had a look at the scans, and what we think that's happening is one of the tumors that's in your lungs is eating into your windpipe, and that's what's making you cough up the blood." I went, wow, okay. She said, "Look, what we're going to try and do is give you one shot of radiation to that lung to try and stop it in its tracks." I went, okay, you do what you need to do, you know, like, sure. So they prepped me for it. I think it was 2 days after that conversation, after getting the Bible, that I was ready for radiation, and I don't know, that was a little bit overwhelming too. Like you don't know what to expect, what to feel, you know, like it's scary. But this is where one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life happened, and yeah, crazy. I went into the radiation room, laying there, big radiation machine around me. Like I said, I got overwhelmed. I was scared. Closed my eyes, started crying, started thinking about my family. And so I just started praying. Felt like that was the only thing I could do and what I needed to do. And I just started praying to Jesus, saying, "Jesus, Lord, I don't want to die. Please help me. I want to see my daughters grow. I want to be there for them. I don't want them to be without a father. I want to be there with a Lini." So this whole time I'm praying, eyes closed, and I'm crying while they're starting to do the radiation. And then all of a sudden, it felt as if I opened up my eyes, boom, and I could see myself laying there. And not only that, I could feel and sense the presence of someone standing next to me. And I just knew, I don't know how I knew, but I knew it was Jesus. He was there in the room with me. I can't remember exactly. I don't think I saw a face or anything. I can't really describe a face. But I knew. I just knew. And straight away, I went from crying, being scared, to all of a sudden, I'm okay. I got a bit of a smile on my face, and I'm just thinking, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna be good. It was just. It's hard to describe what I saw, how I felt. I can't put it into words, but it was just felt this relief through my body. It was just wow.
Presence of God.
Oh,
Dude.
it's just
That's what it was. You know what? You know what I have to tell you, bro, is that you hear these heavenly encounter stories, right? You don't come across them too much, and you don't even get to know the people that you hear people talk about it. But the fact that I know you, the fact that I know you, and I know what your background was. Drinking every day, you know, partying, all that stuff. And you're telling me this, I believe you, bro. I believe you, right? Don't worry about that. And what's interesting is that people have these heavenly encounters, and they say the common thing is, it's hard to put into words, right? But the fact that you're in the presence of God, Jesus next to you, man, and you go from crying to fearful to peace.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I believe you, bro. I really believe you on that. You know, and I haven't heard you talk about it like that before, about the change in feelings of scared, fearful, all those things, that peace. He just steps in. Huh?
Like I said, I remember I just bit of a smile on my face, stopped crying. Actually, no, I didn't stop crying. I lie. I was still crying, but it was a different cry now.
Tears of joy.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
That's powerful.
Exactly right. Yeah. And yeah, and then I was just felt calm, just felt more at peace, and yeah, everything's gonna be like I was back again on the on that positive fight. Everything's gonna be okay. So that was amazing. It was an amazing feeling, and what I had just witnessed, I just
So what happened after that?
so
Tell us more.
I know, right?
There's more. So anyway, I was in hospital for another couple of days. The bleeding has sort of stopped a bit. I was only getting little coagulated bits of blood coming out here and there, but I was okay. Now something else was happening at the same time. At the same time this is happening, I've been having a pain on my left shoulder. And it was a really annoying pain. At first, it felt like a knot, like I had a knot. When you get a knot and you do a sudden movement and it really hurts, It felt like that. So while I was in hospital for what I just mentioned about, I said to him, I said, hey, listen, I got this pain on my shoulder. Can we get it checked out, please? So yeah, no worries. So on the day, it was on the day that it actually discharged me to go back home, they said, all right, we're going to do this ultrasound. Had an ultrasound done on my shoulder, and they looked at it and said, "Oh no, look, we can't see anything wrong there. Must be something muscular or something. When you go home, go and see your GP, and get him to send you to physio. Do some physio on it. It's probably just okay, no worries." So that was that. Went home. Still, in feeling completely different now with what had happened. Praying more, getting more into the Bible, going to church more, just it was crazy.
You could see the difference before the encounter and after the encounter of like, you can be positive, right? And there's nothing wrong with you meet people and they're positive and things are good and all that. And then you meet someone with faith, right? So like you started to walk with faith then, right? And so like, even though you're pain, all that stuff, you were just like, you just wanted to do stuff. Like, I'm alive now. It's like that born again feeling. Like even though I'm going through all this stuff and I still got cancer, like I want to do stuff. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Look, even with church, like, I started going more to church. I want to be more involved. I wanted to help out where I could. It was really good. Really good. Just again, there was a change in me that, unexpectedly, I didn't, like, it happened on its own sort of thing, So started going more to church.
And before you get to the shoulder, did you have another scan
Yeah,
before the shoulder?
Yeah.
So was this all happen at the same time? Do you remember?
No, what do you mean? Sorry.
So after that encounter with Jesus, and then
so 2 months. So all this is happening. So I started physio. I'll get to it. So I started physio.
Yeah.
Went to doctors. Started physio. Had another scan about 2 months after the radiation incident, and I went to get my results, and it's one of the best results I've ever I had received. I went there, and the doctors looked at the results, and the oncologist said, "Look, it's good results. Your tumors, blood clots, the nodules, everything's starting to shrink." I went, wow.
Yeah,
wow. After what had happened, I could only think of one thing, that moment I'd had with Jesus, because, it's someone will say, it's the radiation. Well, no, because the radiation only was targeted at one tumor.
Could have been the immunotherapy.
The immunotherapy. You know what? Whatever it is, it's all from God anyway. Even
Look,
if it is.
I agree with you, right? There's always that part where you go, hang on a tick. But, it could have been the drug, could have been this, could have been the herbal remedies, could have been whatever, right? But ultimately, when you had that encounter, 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, you have a scan, everything's shrinking. And this is at a point where you already stopped the immunotherapy. You did the 2 cycles.
That's right.
Your liver's dying.
Yeah.
And then you get worse and you get in the hospital. So it's not like, when we trace it back, that was the moment. And doubt loves to seep in. And I'm sure everything did help. Remember, mind, body, spirit. But
100%.
that moment, that's when everything changed.
Yeah.
That moment of Christ.
Yeah.
And so, that I remember. Was I with you on that one? Yeah, I think I was, man, because I think the oncologist, he looked like he was a bit confused. Like he was happy, but he was like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
He wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. And I mean, they're always going to say it's the drugs, obviously.
Yeah,
You know? So when that happened, that just lifted me right up, and my faith grew even stronger then. Like, you know, it was just unbelievable. I was just, praying even more, reading, getting into the word. I was now doing more of that than everything else that I was doing,
Yeah, yeah. Everything seemed to get left behind.
Sort of, I was doing a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But no, now I had, after what happened, it was just, to me, I just knew that's the answer. That's a road, I need to take. And so then there was I was getting, my faith was building, and then there was a mention of baptisms that were going to happen in at Easter time.
By the way, so real quick, did you still had a sore shoulder?
Yeah, that was still happening.
That was still happening.
Yeah, that was still happening.
Yeah,
on the physio,
Yeah.
But so I thought, I want to do this. I want to get baptized. That's the next step for me. So I remember I said to you, I said, Matt, I'm thinking about getting baptized. He said, I'm thinking about the same thing. Let's do it together. Yeah, so we both got baptized at Easter time. Yeah, it was really...
It was at Easter time?
Yeah, it was Easter baptism.
Oh,
yeah.
wow. We did it in an actual river up north of Townsville.
Yeah, so good. So good. So I get baptized. And about 3 weeks after I get baptized, I go for my next lot of scans. And sorry, let's go back a bit. Before that, my pain in my shoulder is starting to get worse. So I'm doing a physio, and in the beginning of the physio, I felt like, this is getting better. But no, it starts to get worse. It starts to get worse and worse. The pain gets greater. I'm barely able to lift up my arm, so I could only lift up my arm to a certain degree, and that's it. I would feel the pain right through me. So I went back to the GP, and I said, look, the physio's not working. I've been doing this now for a while. If anything, it's getting worse. Let's get another scan done, because it's not muscular, it's not physio, there's something else there. And I'd let it go. It's something probably, and this goes out to anyone that, if, unfortunately is going through something like cancer or something like that, if you feel a pain, don't let it go for too long, get it checked out straight away.
Good advice.
Get it checked out straight away. I didn't. I just thought, I'm doing the physio, it's going to get better. And it wasn't. And I just let it go until I thought, now this is getting really bad, really painful. So I went back to the GP, let's do some scans. Let's do a CT. We did a CT scan. And unfortunately, the CT scan showed that my cancer had now also spread to the shoulder, to the bone on my shoulder. And I was actually missing about, 3-4 centimeter diameter of bone on my humerus. So, and I was given really strong drugs. So now I'm dealing with that as well. But anyway, after the
you were given really, really strong painkillers.
Very, very strong,
Yeah.
which was really affecting me really bad. Constipation, like it was. I couldn't sleep. They were really bad. But back to the baptism. So after the baptism, 3 weeks after the baptism, I went for some more scan results, and this was amazing. Go there, and they say, look, everything that you had, tumors, blood clots, it's all gone. Everything's gone.
Amazing.
I still had the shoulder one, but everything and you know what? I wasn't, even though the shoulder, I was thinking, just cut it out. I didn't care. Shoulder, just cut it out. When you're thinking of organs like liver, lungs, that was scary. The vein, the lungs, that to me was crucial. That was like, that's death stuff.
Especially when you're coughing up blood.
Yeah, but the shoulder, I thought, you know what? If I have to live with one arm, like, be it, So I wasn't too worried about that at that stage. But I just went, wow, this is just incredible. I get baptized 2 weeks later. I go for my scan results, and it's all gone. It's all gone. So that was great. That was unbelievable. Like till today, I think about it. Like that's amazing. That's amazing. Especially after what had happened.
And so, it's interesting the fact that you got like all that cancer disappeared, but then you got this shoulder thing. But at that stage, you were like, well, if you got rid of that, he's going to get rid of this. You know what I mean? You were like that, but you were in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Like the worst I've ever seen you.
Yeah.
Like you were literally like walking around like that. You couldn't even do it. So,
You know what's funny though? Not funny, but I've thought about this a lot, and I used to think about it while it was happening, especially a few things that had happened at church with Alini, some fake words that she had heard, and a lot of things that had happened to me at that stage. I kind of believed, and in the back of my mind, I had this feeling that there was a reason for the cancer to still be on my shoulder. It wasn't like life-threatening now, but the cancer was still there. And in the back of my mind, I sort of felt like it was a reason for that. There was a reason for it, you know? So again, you know, we're praying for my shoulder.
Kind of like, you know, the thorn in Paul's side.
Mm.
You know what I mean? He's healing everyone else, doing amazing evangelizing of the gospel all across the Mediterranean. And yet he had a physical ailment that Luke couldn't help him with, or not, you know, he just maybe it was a constant reminder of who he was in the past, and it humbled him. I remember we spoke about that actually, and I thought, you know, mate, maybe that is your thorn in your side. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe you might live with that for the rest of your life. Who knows? Yeah. You know what I mean? But you're here.
Yeah. And I think it was like a reminder, and I had this feeling that it was like, don't stray away from the path that I was walking in at that stage. You know, I got a feeling that if I was all cured, would I still be?
Wow.
Would I still be following? You know, the faith will still be there. You know, I would have gone, I'm all healed now. Thanks, Jesus. See you later. You know?
Yeah.
You know, I have a feeling in me that because, you know, I think it could have been a possibility, maybe, you know? You know, and it was like a sign saying, don't forget, you know, don't forget what I've done for you. And, you know, it's a reminder, it's still there. So as time went along, it got worse. It got really, really, really bad, where the pain was just now really unbearable. I'd cry every now and then. I'd get this pain. So I had two pains. One that was constant pain down my arm, and I had a second pain where it was a movement, where I'd make a certain movement, and it was like someone was...
That look you just did then, that's exactly what it was.
It would bring tears to my eyes. Even when I was sleeping at nighttime, you know, you're sleeping, you make a movement in your sleep, I'd wake up, just screaming, you know, my wife would scared, what's wrong, are you okay? Like, you know, because it was intense. It was, you know, sometimes I think what was worse, waking up with a 55 staples freshly cut, or that pain, like, I'm sure that this was worse, but it was bad. It was close. It was really bad. And the painkillers, it was getting to a stage now, they weren't really doing much. You know, they were really strong, but, you know, this pain was so intense. So they sent me to Brisbane to see a surgeon in Brisbane, and what they wanted to do was do a complete reverse shoulder replacement, where they're going to cut it all out and replace it all with metal. That was the plan. So, yeah, went to Brisbane, saw the surgeon, we spoke about it, told me what the procedure, everything was. Okay, sweet. I said, where can we get this done? Next week? Yes, mate, we got to book in a surgery, probably be about 2-3 months. I was devastated. So, are you serious? I've got to put up with this pain for another 2-3 months? Like, come on.
Because it wasn't life-threatening, but
it wasn't life-threatening. It was just a pain. The
pain
was, it was, I just wanted to cut my arm out. You know, I didn't care. I didn't want this pain anymore. You know, again, everyone was so good. You know, going to church was really good. Everyone was praying for me. You know, there was times where, you know, I had everyone praying on my shoulder, and it was just so good, so good. Then one day it was actually after church, I went home and I just sat there in my room, you know, and I just started talking to God, and I started praying. I said, Lord, look, I get it. I know there's probably a reason why I still have this cancer on my shoulder. I get it. And I don't mind the cancer's still there. Please remove the pain. I can't deal with this pain anymore. It's just so much. I can't deal with this pain. Please, Lord. So I was just praying. And then I think it was about 2 days later after I prayed, I woke up in the morning and, pain's not as bad today. Don't think I need to take my painkillers. So I didn't take my painkillers and went through the day. It was actually okay. Second day, again. Third day, fourth day, a week, 2 weeks, you know, and the pain was going away.
When we talk about painkillers, we're talking opioids.
Yeah.
Right? Like the strongest you're going to get. Yeah. So you were taking them like M&Ms, basically.
Yeah. Every couple of hours.
Yeah.
Every couple of hours. And it was making me
you wake up in the morning after that prayer, you wake up in the morning and you're like, Like, it's not as
It's
bad.
not as bad.
You should stop taking the painkillers.
I did, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, so yeah, the months went by, and then not only was the pain gone away, but like I said, I could only barely lift my arm up. Every week or every couple of days, I was able to lift my arm higher and higher and higher and higher, where I could go all the way up. Now I was like, wow, this is so good, so good. And the 3 months came up. It was time for surgery. And the nurse rang me from Brisbane and said, "Hey, Seb, we need to book you in for I think it was a week and a half for surgery." I said, "Look, before we go ahead with the surgery, I want to have some more scans done, and I want to talk to the surgeon. So I have a feeling I don't need this surgery anymore."
Wow.
She said, "Okay." So I had some scans done, and then I flew to Brisbane on the Friday, and I was going to have surgery on the Tuesday. So Friday morning, I remember too, on the way there on the plane, I was just praying to God, because I had a feeling, but I needed some confirmation. I wasn't sure if I was meant to do this surgery or not, So I remember praying to God on the plane, saying, "Oh, please, show me, tell me, what's the right thing to do here? Do I do the surgery or not?" Even though I had in the back of my mind that I didn't want to do it, I just felt like I needed confirmation, Got off the plane. I was with my mum. Flew down with my mum, and as soon as it was weird, crazy, but as soon as I walked in through the doors of the hospital, I just felt this feeling through my body, in my mind, going, "No, you don't need surgery." Like something told me. It was, I can't describe it, but I went, "Wow."
Holy Spirit, man.
And I said to my mum, I said, "Mum, I'm not doing the surgery." "Really?" She goes, "No, I'm not going to do it." Anyway, we went to where we had to go in the hospital, waited to get seen by the surgeon. Finally get to see him. And he looks at the scans and he makes me do all these movements with my arm, do here, push there, put your arm behind your back, all different directions. And then he goes, "All right, Seb, look, here's where we're standing. I've had a look at your scans. Your cancer's still there. It hasn't got any bigger, hasn't got any smaller. It's still the same size as it was 3 months ago. So if you want, on Tuesday, we can go ahead and do the surgery. Cut it all out, cut the bone out, replace it with metal, do the reverse complete shoulder replacement." And he said, "The only problem is, looking at you now, if we go ahead with this surgery, you're not going to have the movements you have now in your arms. It's going to be minimal. You're not going to be able to like put your hand behind your back. You're not going to, not only that," he said, "there's going to be months, if not years, of physio, recovery, pain." So he was pretty much telling me what I wanted to hear, really, because I already knew when I walked through the hospital. I already knew what I was going to do. So yeah. So I said, "You know what? Let's not worry about it. I don't want to have the surgery. It's getting better. I think it's going to be all right." So flew back to Townsville that same day. I didn't have the surgery on Tuesday. Over time, it just got better and better and better and better. And so I had also restarted immunotherapy as well. So after about 3-4 months of being on the steroids, the liver levels were back to normal. I went to the oncologist and I said, "Hey, can we get back on immunotherapy? Like, I would like to get back on it." He goes, "Oh," he said, "Yeah, all right. Let's get you back on it, just on the one drug, and we'll monitor you." And so I've been doing immunotherapy every 4 weeks. I still go to hospital, have immunotherapy, and every 3 months I still have scans.
Yeah.
I have bone scans, CT scans. Now the last 2 scans. Fast forward to now, the last 2 scans that I've had. For the shoulder, well, everything's still clear, which is great, awesome. Like nothing, you still have, even though my faith is up there, and I trust God with my life, and I believe He's done all this to me for a reason. I know this. I ask Him every day, "Show me what you want me to do. I want to work for you. I want to do whatever it is that you saved me for." But lost Lost my train of thought then.
You're talking about you're back on the immunotherapy, and then
So doing that every 4 weeks.
then you got the scan.
And scans every 3 months. I go back. My last 2 scans that I've had, I've gone back to get the results, and the doctor's gone, look, we can't see any cancer activity on your shoulder. So I said, so it's all gone. He goes, oh, well, they can't tell you that. They never tell me it's all gone. I just want to hear it. It's all gone. You're in remission, whatever, you know. They go, can't see any cancer activity there, but there's a possibility that you probably still got cancer, microscopic cancer cells in your body because, you know, you're stage 4. It's gone all over your body. But you know what? In my mind, I feel that it's all gone. I feel that, you know, the Lord has healed me and it's all gone.
So now that I guess you're born again in spirit and in body, like you now, what's your outlook on life now? Like, how do you go about your day, knowing that you've had this experience, come back for it?
Well, first of all, like, you know, and I tell this to a few people, and people like yourself know who I was prior to all of this.
Yeah, you're a bad boy.
Oh, I was, you know, partying. You know, I've been DJing for over 15 years as well. So
yeah.
You know, partying, drinking. You know, doing a lot of bad stuff. You know, just caring about myself, not being really, you know, a family person. But that's all turned my life around. And I actually say to people, and people sometimes don't believe me, but it's true. I am grateful that I got cancer.
Oosh.
I am. It changed my life around. It changed me. I'm a completely different person to where I was 2 years ago. You know, I look at life differently. I appreciate it. I care about people more. I want to help people. I want to, you know, I look after my body. I look after myself a lot more than I did before. Just my outlook on life too. You know, and you know what? And another important thing that I forgot to mention, when I first got diagnosed, one of the bad things is dying. You think about death, like I said before, and you know, it's really scary and leaving your family behind. But you know, the more my faith intensified and more I learned, and because of the person I am today and what I've learned, I actually don't care. I don't care about death anymore. That's the least of my worries now.
You see, this is what I was like talking about before, about you look at tribulation, you look at evil, right? You look at these things in the world which actually prevent people from believing in God, because it's not, you know, how can a almighty, all-powerful God allow evil in the world? It's the theological problem of evil, and there's ways to answer it. But you are evidence of the fact. You can look at pain, tribulation, suffering, right? The evil that's come upon you. Let's admit, we all play a role in it, eh? We all play a role with the decisions we make in our lives and the consequences that it has for us and other people, whether it's how we live our life, how we treat people, all those things, right? And the flow-on effects as well, you know, for your kids and their kids, it just happens. It's just the reality. There's consequences for our free will and our choices that we do make. But the fact that you can look at the suffering you went through, a lot, emotional, spiritual, physical, and you can say these things now. You can look at it, you look at evil, look at suffering, look at pain and see the light of God, and you literally did. You had an encounter with Christ. He turned up.
Yeah.
And that you can look at that and say, death has no power over me anymore. I don't care. Do what you want with me, Lord. Use me.
Yeah.
And it's a story that I was so excited about sharing here today. I mean, I'm trying to get you on for ages. We've had so many problems to make this podcast happen.
Yeah.
You know, now you not only do you do the DJing and the serving at church and all those things, and, you know, you're going to be preaching soon even, right? To think of you of all people, right? I feel the same way. Don't worry, right? But God changes you. It's like, how real is the kingdom of God? How real is the presence of God, that even though we can't see it and grasp it and hold it, the transcendental reality of God affects our bodies in such a way where we see the supernatural physically affect the natural. The things that we can't see and the presence of God and how he makes us feel and what he shows us manifests itself in the natural through you to the point where you're a new man, new thoughts, new feelings, new desires. This is this idea of a new creation that it doesn't matter how you came into it.
Yeah.
Right?
So good. Yep.
It doesn't matter what you were before or how you felt. I was addicted to this. This was my lifestyle. I did this and all these things. It's like all those sins are forgiven. You step into Christ and he makes you a new creation. You don't need to worry about this. I used to have a fear of death. I couldn't sleep. I worry about my family, what would happen, all this. He took all that away from me too. And so this story is so important because it teaches people how to deal with suffering. I mean, we had a podcast with Louis, the SAS in training commando dude. And he made this comment, a quote, where it made a lasting impact on me about what to do when you encounter suffering. And he said, lean into it.
Yeah, wow.
Lean into it. Trust God. Have faith. Lean into it. Don't run away from it.
Yeah.
There's like every moment now, there's a lesson. There's something to learn. And adversity is a beautiful teacher. That's the reality, right?
Yeah.
So now you, amongst everything you do Uber.
Yes.
And you tell people about Jesus.
Yes.
You're the Uber evangelist.
Yeah, yeah. It's so good.
It's beautiful.
It's so good. So, I didn't plan to do it. So what happened was when the cancer went to my lungs, I actually quit my full-time job because I honestly thought I only had months to live. And I thought, you know what?
Well, physically you couldn't do it either. You were tired.
But I thought, you know what? Whatever time I got left, I want to spend it with, quality time with my family. So I quit my job. And now that I was healing, I was feeling a lot better. I thought I need to get back to work, make a bit of a living. And I thought, I've always had that in the back of my mind doing the Uber thing. And I thought, that's not a stressful job. I can still, because I still go to hospital a lot and have scans and immunotherapy. And not only that, I can spend a lot more time with my family too. I thought, this is a great job. I can work the days I want, the hours I want. I'm going to start doing this Uber thing. And, it happened unexpectedly. I was just driving around and then I don't know how I'd be in a conversation with the people I was driving around, and in that conversation he pops up, oh, you've been on this long, and started telling them my story, and then without even realizing, I started telling my testimony and what actually occurred, and the whole encounter with Jesus and everything, and I've shared my story many, many, many times. I get people sometimes at the end, they don't want to get out of the car, they want to keep talking, and there's been times where we've prayed in the car, and I've had people cry and people share their testimonies, their stories. One quick one, for instance, I had this gentleman in my car one day, and I picked him up, and as I said, we're just talking, and I'm sharing my testimony with him, and I arrived at the destination. And before he gets out, he's looking a bit teary, and he said, "Seb, you know what? I want to thank you for sharing that story with me. I want to tell you that I grew up in a Christian family. I was very involved in that church, but then I went through some tough times, and I was actually even suicidal at one stage, and I just felt I just lost this faith and walked away. And it had been like a year or two, I can't remember exactly. But he said, you know what, I feel that, God wanted me to hear your story. And, as soon as I get back, he's from Brisbane. As soon as I get back to Brisbane, I can't wait to go and see my family, my church, and start. And I've just regained my faith thanks to you. I want to going back to praying and talking to God and doing what I can. So, and that's just one story of many.
Yeah, so good, man.
Gives you goosebumps.
It's just good to hear that now, the impact, you're making a whole nother level of impact on people now.
Yeah.
To know where you've come from. It's just, you know what I do? I want to talk about some other things, but like all the other things we spoke about, wanted to talk about, but I feel I can't. I feel like
It's just too much of an important story.
This is too much of an important story to take away from that. So what I want to do is I want to invite you back, right, for a part 2 where we get into all the other stuff
that we normally talk about.
Yeah. Right. I want to invite you back for a part 2. I think it's really important. All right.
Yeah.
Because we've got a whole nother side, like conspiracy theories, crazy stuff, like flat Earth, 9/11, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that just will take away from
The essence of this.
what this is about and why it's been so long to get here. So I, first off, want to thank you for taking the time to coming on here, right? You have such a special testimony that is going to affect a lot of people, right? And I believe to this day that you are here to share that story.
Yeah.
Where, however long that God keeps you here. You know what I mean? Because for instance, with me, when I got that born again feeling, if God, it's His will that I'm here.
Yeah.
I will be here for as long that He keeps me here. And I know you feel the same way because we look at death differently now.
Yeah, 100%.
So for every day that we are here, we're going to wake up. We're going to love God first. We're going to love our family second. And we're going to go work for the kingdom of God.
Amen.
After that. Right?
Yeah.
I know you feel that same way.
Yeah.
So
100%.
I think you are doing that. You're living that way. I hope this podcast goes far and wide. And just remember, guys, we're going to link this page. Talk to Seb, approach him online. He's happy to help. He's helping a lot of people to this day. And, I really thank you for that. And I'll just say this. First off, do you have anything you want to ask, Seb? Because you've asked one question this whole time.
Okay. About heaps, but
Okay.
should probably wrap it up.
Yeah.
No, it was perfect ending.
I know, right? I actually want to finish with some prayer, dude.
Yeah.
Just because you're such a blessing. And so I think we should just sign off on that. So is there anything you want to add, brother?
No. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, pleasure.
I was like you just said it. I feel that I need to share my story. I do.
Yeah.
There is a reason. I don't know if that's the only reason God has kept me here, but I'm sure that I know that's one of them.
Yeah.
Share my testimony. Just start. Plant seeds.
Beautiful.
So again, thank you for this opportunity of being here, and more than happy to come here for part 2 for a complete different
guys,
episode.
Part 2, it's going to be fun.
Oh, yeah.
We will do it. We'll lock it in, but this is, I think, a good point to finish on. So good. Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for the gift that Sebastian is and what you've done in his life and the testimony that he now shares. And he testifies of your glory and your work and your righteousness, the things that you've done. And thank you so much for keeping him here, for the miracles that he's experienced. And I hope and I pray in Jesus' name that people will get affected by this in a way that they need to, that they can share the stories and look at their own suffering in their life and find the light of God, find Christ. And so, Lord Father, I just pray that you bless Sebastian more blessings for him and his family, and Dale and this podcast, and just so that people can encounter you in various ways, whether that be in their own churches, whether that be with other people in their walks of life, online media. Lord, we want to see your glory come through, and we want to see every enemy made a footstool of your feet, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
And
All right, bro. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Coming
Thank
on. Awesome. That's a wrap.
beautiful.